Hello, hola everyone. Welcome to our Sunday self-care in yoga and mindful flow session. Today, the 14th of June. I'm doing things a little bit different today, just testing things out. Um, but hopefully it'll be a super enjoyable practice that will leave you relaxed, also more spacious in your body and connect as we're going to move into some mindful flow as well. So I hope you enjoy the practice tonight. Make sure you grab your props, your support, pillow and a cushion for tonight and a blanket for your shavasana as well. So let's get started. We're going to start lying down, bringing the pillow just behind our knees and finding a comfortable lying down position, still allowing your heels to connect to the mat and bringing the back of your waist to the ground. Taking a deep inhale. On the exhale, placing your hands on your lower belly and gently closing your eyes. It's a great way to transition into our practice. And for this class, I'll be using some pranayama breathing techniques to allow us to do so. Focusing our breath into the lower belly, feeling our hands rise with the inhale and relax with the exhale. We're bringing our breath just to that space. On your next inhale, gently moving your hands or the back of the hands to either side of the rib cage as we experiment bringing the breath to that area. With the inhale, rib cage expands. With the exhale, the rib cage comes together. And that can be challenging if you're not used to practicing this technique. So be kind with yourself and take it as a journey. We'll next move to our chest, focusing and bringing our breath to the chest area. We feel the chest rise and fall. And we're now bringing all three of those spaces together. Bring your right hand back to your lower belly, keeping your left hand onto your chest. With the inhale, we feel the lower belly rise. Then we bring the breath to the ribs, then to the chest. We exhale, the chest lowers, the rib cage relaxes, and the lower back releases. And we'll keep with this intention, inhaling each of those three spaces at a time, expanding one at a time, and with the exhale, releasing one of those at a time for our yogic breath. And you can release your hands if you feel more comfortable, keeping with that intention. Inhaling, rising the belly, rib cage expands, then the chest. Exhaling, doing the opposite inverted direction. If you're new to this practice, again, be very kind with yourself. Approach it as a new experience. And if it's not working for you in this moment, you can just return to your regular breathing. As any other pranayama breathings, a yogic breath, it just helps with very specific intentions. In this case, allows our nervous system to slow down, tap into sympathetic nervous system, rest and restore. There's a great way to transition our minds and our bodies into the practice that's ahead, especially a yin practice, gentler and slower. Enjoying your regular breathing now. The weight of the body resting against the ground and allowing any thoughts that are there to come and to go. As we come back to our body sensations, inhaling the arms up above the heads, give yourself a lovely stretch here. As you're getting out of bed, bringing the knees to chest, swaying from side to side, wrapping the arms around your knees, experimenting with different movements. Perhaps circles in one direction with the knees together, massaging your lower back, and the opposite direction as well. Whichever else feels right for you here.
As we move our pillow out of the way, bringing our feet onto the mat, keeping the knees bent, feet hip width apart, bringing the arms T-shaped. We're gonna move into a pelvic tilt. We're just releasing our lower back and our hips. We're gonna inhale, expand the belly button upwards. On the exhale, the opposite direction, bringing the belly button inwards and up. Inhale, tilting the pelvis forward, belly button up. Exhale, tilting the pelvis, the pubic bone inward. So keep going with this motion, connecting with the breath, releasing the lower back, making the hips a little bit more supple. And next time your back of your waist are connected to the mat, bringing your feet hip width apart and closer to your glutes as we lift the arms up onto an inhale and gently lifting to a bridge pose. Our feet are connected to the ground, the glutes are engaged, and we're just low enough to have a straight line from knees to shoulder. Next inhale, if you wish to, lifting a little bit higher but still keeping a neutral spine. And on the exhale, releasing one vertebrae down at a time. Bringing the knees back to chest here, swaying from side to side. As we bring our feet back onto the mat, as wide as the mat this time. As we windshield wipe the knees to the left and to the right, releasing the side body, the groin area, bringing movement to that space, fluidity. And next time the knees are over to the left, pausing here, taking a deep inhale as the whole right side of the body expands. Inhale, and on the exhale, both knees over to the right. Inhale on the left side of the body. Exhale, release knees back to center. As we shuffle the feet back to hip width apart and experiment with the pelvic tilt yet again. Noticing how it feels this time. More fluidity to the space. Pausing with the back of the waist onto the mat. And shuffling the feet as wide as the mat as we allow the knees to fall inwards towards the center. And it's okay if they don't touch here. We're just closing our SI joints, countering all that hip release. And taking a lovely breath here. Bringing the knees back to center, feet as wide as the mat. Both knees fall over to the right hand side, and using our hands to very slowly and gently come up to seated position. I'm shuffling to the center. You can adjust however you wish to. So the right shin stays roughly parallel to the top of our mat. It doesn't have to be so prescriptive. Left heel close to the glute as we bring our left arm up and around. Inhale, diving forward, wide circle with the left arm. Exhale, release back. Really enjoy this drinking in, bringing the air that's around you. One last time here, extra juicy. We're gonna pause, looking back and down, and if you wish to, you can prop up on your hip. Just an option for a hip flexor, extra stretch. Coming back to center and twisting over lightly to the left for a counter stretch here. We're gonna bring our left leg in front of us straight, Janu Shasana. Modified here slightly. So the sole of the right foot is connected to the left thigh. And if that right knee is really high up, you can bring your cushion to support the knee or any knee problems really. Just allow to alleviate any tension that you might have with a really tight hip flexor. Upper body centered. We're going to start to hinge from the hips, keeping the back straight. So I'm going to turn sideways, and you can see from a different angle here. So I'm keeping my back straight. I'm not collapsing on the lower belly. Inhale the arms up. On the exhale, we're going to allow the fingers to just land gently wherever they land. Lengthening to the crown of the head, gaze towards our flexed toes at first. We're not going to our deepest point here. We're pausing, bringing our pillow, making a support for us. I'm having to fold my pillow in half to make it a little bit higher. So you choose however you want to, depending on your prop. So you can bring your elbows to the pillow and then rest your head on your hands. Now we want that prop to be high enough that allows us to not be completely folded over and contracted on our front body. Taking a deep inhale, feel the lower back expand here. On the exhale, allow your head to go even heavier on your hands. The right leg is completely relaxed. And we're using gravity and our breath to create space in different parts of our bodies. Our hamstrings are lengthening here without having to go into our deeper stretch as the nervous system is relaxed. Not locking our hamstrings, seizing them up as we try to stretch too quickly. And just enjoy this moment of pause. Any thoughts that come to your mind, we let them go. We come back to the sensations in and around our bodies. Next, inhale gently and slowly coming up, moving our pillow to the side. Bringing our hands behind and quite wide apart from each other as we tilt the head back, arching the back slightly for a counter stretch here. We're gonna grab hold of our left leg, cradling it like a baby, swaying back and forth. Sorry, should I say the right leg? We're preparing our right hip socket and allowing then the right ankle to rest just above the left knee and allowing that knee to fall outwards. But if you need, bring your cushion to support that knee again. I'm going to pause here, inhale, lengthen, and on the exhale, just lean forward slightly. You feel that quite deep stretch on the outer part of your right thigh. The left leg is engaged with the left toes flexed as well. Inhale, come back, shuffle the left foot in just a little bit towards the glute. So we come to figure 4 and we sway from side to side here. We're massaging our tailbone as well as releasing the thighs, the hip sockets, the groin areas. Pausing at the center. Your choice here to shuffle the left foot a little bit closer to the glute. That intensifies the stretch on the outer left leg. But allow the right knee to stay away from you, but hinging from the hip socket as opposed to from the knee joint. If it feels comfortable, tilting the head back, enjoying that stretch. Inhale back to center, allowing both knees to fall over to the right hand side. The right foot stays on the outer left knee, so super releasing on the whole left side of the hip and groin area. We come back to center and cross the legs. We pause for a little counter, shuffling the feet as wide as the mat and coming back to our windshield wipers here. And next time, knees fall over to the left. We pause to transition to that sequence on the opposite side. I'm just turning around so I can face you. So left shin roughly parallel to the edge of your mat. Bringing that right arm up and around as the left fingertips support us as we go back. Inhale, forward, exhale, back. Make this movement your own. Experiment with it. We're releasing the hips, the spine, and oxygenating the whole body. And tap into the side body as well. Pausing here, choosing to prop yourself up for a deeper stretch or not. And coming back to center, twisting gently to the opposite side for a counter stretch over to the right. As we come back to center, we're going to bring that right leg in front of us and straight for Janushasana on this side. Connecting the sitting bones onto the mat, bringing your cushion to support the left knee if you need, if there's any tension or any issues. If you don't need it, if it feels quite okay, you can go for it here. Inhale, arms up, flexing the right toes, allowing the fingertips to just land gently, gazes towards our toes. We're not going to our deepest point here. We're going to grab our pillow, make that lovely support for us, placing our elbows in that space and allowing our head to rest and be supported by our hands. Deep inhale in this space. Enjoy the expansion of the back. On the exhale, sinking deeper into our sitting bones, onto the ground beneath us. Allowing the body to release here. To pause. To connect to the sensations that are present. Always remembering that any sharp pains is your body giving you a signal to move, so gently get out of the pose at any point of your practice. Very different from sensations or dull sensations though, which are very common in yin and part of our practice. Again, with each inhale, we feel the back expanding, freeing our lungs, oxygenating the lungs. With the exhale, releasing the head heavier and heavier into our hands. On the next inhale, gently and slowly coming up, moving our pillow to the side, bringing the hands behind and quite far apart from each other as we tilt the head back, pointing the toes for a counter stretch here. Coming back to center, grabbing hold of our left leg, cradling like a baby, moving back and forth. So we prepare the hip socket for the next pose and bring that left ankle to rest just above the right knee. Adjusting and centering ourselves. Inhale, on the exhale, just gently leaning forward. Bring the right sole of the foot to the mat, bending the right knee for a figure of four. Hands behind as we sway the legs from right to left side. Working with our hip sockets, preparing. Every step of this practice is very mindful what's coming next. As we pause at the center, sending the left knee outwards, choosing to shuffle that right foot in closer to the glute for a deeper stretch here. Inhale, on the exhale, tilting the head back, feeling that release. Coming back to center here. Both knees fall over to the left hand side. Feel the expansion on the right side of the body as you breathe in. And release as you breathe out. Uncrossing the legs, Hands behind for a little counter stretch. And swaying the legs around, coming to a tabletop, all fours, however you want to make your way there. Adjusting wrists under shoulders, knees hip width apart, spreading palms of the hands wide onto the mat so we connect with the ground beneath us. And we're going to start by just stepping to gentle movement, swaying from side to side. So we shift the weight from the right to the left hand. And then moving into a wider exploration. Here, sending the head to one direction and the hips to the other. Making a nest shape with your body, or any other movement you want to experiment with. Before we move into a more traditional cat and cow, we tap into lateral movements of the spine, circular movements as I'm doing here, anything else that you wish to experiment with that your body's asking you for. Enjoying that journey and that exploration is such a good way to approach our yoga practice, to tap into different planes of movement. Now we come back to our all fours, setting up knees hip width apart, wrists under shoulder, pressing the hands against the mat to support our upper back as we prep for our cat and cow. Inhale, drop the belly, gaze goes up. On the exhale, nose to belly button. Push the mat away. Enjoy the shoulder blades coming away from each other. And we keep going. Inhale. Exhale for our cat. Exaggerating this movement on our pelvic area as well. Moving the whole spine from the tailbone to the top of our neck. And then next inhale. Toes connect, knees go wide as we come to our child's pose. If your glutes are a bit too far off your heels, you're welcome to bring your pillow into that space to connect that area, and keeps the weight of our body focused onto the lower side of the body as opposed to tilting forwards. Inhale, lower back expands. Exhale, forehead heavy onto the mat. Enjoy that release. Gazes down and inwards. My arms are still active here. My elbows are lifted so I can support my spine. Stay here with our breath. Each exhale creates more space in our bodies. And on the next inhale, looking towards our hands and very gently walking the hands back as we move the pillow from under our glutes, if you had one there, as we prepare for our next pose. Hero of Virasana pose. We're going to need our cushion for this one. I'm just coming to the center of this screen for you. So bring your cushion. We're going to start to separate the feet. Bringing the cushion under the glutes, making sure that the feet are on the outside of our hips. So heels are on the outside. We're going to use our thumbs to push away the flesh from our calves, away from our thighs as we sit back down onto our pillow. Finding that stability. If it's too intense for you, you may wish to bring your pillow under your knees. The elevation will help alleviate some of the pressure if you have tighter hip flexors or quads. Or another way to support that is to fold your cushion or bring another cushion under your glutes to elevate your glutes here as well. So whatever works for you, whatever supports your body and your practice. Once you've found your version of Virasana, taking an inhale and coming to stillness. As we pause here, working in this internal rotation of the hips, connecting with our bodies. Notice if there are any sharp pains, at which point we slowly come out of the pose and release. If not, staying here with our breath, allowing the glutes to be relaxed, the back to be straight, the core is connected and active, so we're not collapsing onto the lower belly. Each exhale creates more space, we sink a little bit deeper. Next inhale, very gently bring the arms behind, tilting the head back for a little counter stretch. And coming back to center to come out of the pose as we came in. Using one arm forwards to support us, removing the cushion. And we're going to release our legs. Coming to an all fours, just setting up, curling the toes under, wrists under shoulders, knees hip width apart as we gently come up to a downward facing dog. Releasing our legs, that compression. Pushing the mat away with our hands, keeping the knees bent for this first few moments so we can really integrate that triangular shape. Gaze towards the space between our feet, glutes are high and up. And then bringing some movement, taking the dog for a walk, bending one knee at a time as we straighten the opposite leg, exploring different movements here if you wish to. I'm pausing here with the right straight leg looking under the right armpit as I bend the left knee and bringing that back to the opposite side. Again, we're taking this practice in a very explorative way. Adjusting if you need to, perhaps bringing the legs a little bit straighter. Before we shuffle our feet as wide as the mat, we're going to transition into a squat. Start to bend the knees and walk the hands back as we bring the glutes down. Finding our squat position, bringing the elbows to the inside of the knees. Now, if your heels are lifted here, which is very common for many people, as we sit down so much during our days, you can bring your cushion or your pillow under your heels to support you staying in this pose a little bit longer. So the intention here is to allow us to sit in our squat a little bit longer each time. It's a super beneficial pose to counter all the sitting that we do and what that does to our spine, to our hips, and to our overall movement health. Gets really compromised. So if there's one pose you can do daily, this is the one. Inhale, lengthening through the crown of the head. On the exhale, the glutes relax and sink a little bit deeper. And we're going to gently come out of our squat by bringing the arms behind, hands behind, and sitting down. I'm shuffling to the center here. As I bring ourselves back into that initial deer pose, so right shin parallel. We're not going to stay here much longer. We're transitioning into the next yin pose, which is our pigeon. So I'm just showing you from different angles here. So we're going to start the pigeon, explore the pigeon with the right leg, the right knee is bent. The left leg and foot is behind. Now we can choose tonight to pause into a half pigeon. So it's all going to depend on how your body's feeling tonight. So we're going to take one step at a time as we move into the pigeon to protect our hip health and our knee health. So you can place a cushion under the right glute to support you. And that might be your pigeon for tonight. Or we might start to extend onto that left leg. So right knee is bent. And I'm going to start to extend and explore on that left leg, and you're going to choose where you want to stop. I'm going to go all the way to full pigeon. If you go with me to the full pigeon, we're going to get into an active pigeon first, lifting the left knee, tucking the left toes under. And this is the more current advised way to get into pigeon, as opposed to go super passive, as with time it's been found that a lot of yogis are getting a lot of hip replacement, and a huge part of it is going to too deep passive pigeon stretch on our hips. As we start to move our hands forward, you're going to keep the toes connected and the left leg active. So that's allowing our right hip socket to adjust. Coming to our forearms if you have that space in your practice, or you may wish to bring your pillow here. And once the head goes down and release, then we can release that left leg down onto the mat, knowing that we're looking after our bodies and our joints. And we take a moment to pause here and enjoy this deep release. Noticing the expansion of your lower back with the inhale, and releasing more and more into the ground with the exhale. Allow your body to come to stillness here, and the mind. As the thoughts come, we let them go and we come back to our breath and to this moment, to what's present in the body now. Not in the past, not in the future, but now, in this very moment. How is your breath? Where do you feel your breath? As with the next inhale, we gently lift the gaze, the head up, slowly walking our hands back. And we're going to bring that left leg around, so both legs are straight in front of us. To release that compression, shuffling the legs slightly, bringing a little bit of movement, perhaps tilting the head back for a little counter stretch of the back. And we're going to find our pigeon on the opposite side, onto the left side. So the left knee is bent in front of us. The right heel is behind towards the right glute. Perhaps you need that cushion onto the side, under the left glute. And we're going to explore and find our pigeon the same way we did with the first side. It might feel and look very different on this side. If you choose to go into full pigeon, we're going to move with an active pigeon first, tucking the right toes under, lifting the right knee off the mat. Engage in those hip sockets as we start to lean forward onto our forearms, and if the forehead comes to the mat, releasing the knee down and the front of the foot. And if you're staying a little bit higher with your upper body, it's okay. You can release the right leg as well. Inhale and exhale. Enjoying the breath, the release. The support that the ground is giving you. The stillness that can be very challenging at times of body and mind. Challenge yourself to go there, to explore being still. Acknowledging the thoughts or the urges to move, but choosing to remain in stillness. Coming to the breath as your anchor. Next, inhale, gently lifting the gaze up, slowly walking the hands back, curling the toes under. So you're going to come out of the pigeon this side slightly different, bending at the knee, releasing the left leg back, coming to tabletop, and then straining the left leg with the left toes connected to the mat. So we bring some blood flow to that area. From here, we're going to come to lie down on our bellies. Stacking one hand on top of the other, releasing the forehead down for a moment, taking a breath here. And then bringing our our cushion. And I'm gonna turn so you can see where we're gonna place our cushion, just on the inside of our groin area. You want the cushion to go from the groin to the knee for this next pose. We're gonna do the opposite of our pigeon. So bringing the knee high up, supported by the cushion. Bringing the forehead down on that support made by our hands. Inhale. Exhale, releasing completely onto the ground beneath you. And in this pose, we are practicing a different rotation of our thighs, countering the deer pose and the pigeon, as well as stimulating the glands that are housed into our groin area, and practicing that compression and release. I release the toxins as well. It's a very relaxing pose. Very good if you're having problems going to sleep, to try and practice this before bed as well. Each exhale, releasing the tension from the glutes. Enjoying the breath. In your next inhale, very gently straightening that leg and bringing your cushion to the opposite side. Remembering to place from your groin to your knee area, and then bending that knee, the opposite knee. Inhale, exhale, completely releasing into the ground beneath you. Feel the front of the body supported, heavy, and relaxed in that space. Each inhale, we connect. With each exhale, we release. Letting go of any tension, allowing the thoughts to come and go. Next inhale, gently moving your cushion out of the way, pausing that space, still forehead on your hands, shuffling from side to side so you can feel that release. As we make our way to lie on our backs for final movement, before our Shavasana. Bring the knees to chest, perhaps swaying a little bit from side to side, or whatever your body is asking you for in this moment, before you're able to fully relax and release. I'm bringing my forehead to my knees, creating some contraction and tension before we can let go on our Shavasana. Bring the legs straight in front of us, releasing, bringing the back of the waist to the mat, tucking the chin in ever so slightly, lengthening the back of the neck, and completely releasing into this space. In your Shavasana for as long as you wish to, allowing the whole body to relax and soften and reap the benefits of the practice.